Hello everybody, my name is Jan. I was supposed to present this together with a nice guy in the US from H&M, but I believe COVID got the better of him, so he's not available. I got to do this alone. We'll have a little bit on, let's say, trends and what's going on with robotics, logistics, and then I'll tie it to the stuff that we do with H&M in the US. A bit of info on that. I'll cover it myself then. So it's not as good as it should have been with the H&M guy presenting his bit, but I hope that you can bear with me. Can you hear me well? Yeah? Great. I'm supposed to point that way. Do I? Yeah. So the thing is, I practiced for this session 3 weeks ago in Windsor in the UK. The Queen was listening. Obviously, we had a 2-day session just like this one. The first day was sort of a session where we gathered issues, challenges, problems with UK retailers. Then we went drinking, just like tonight we will be over here. And then the day after we played it back to them and we connected it to robotics related solutions that you can think of in terms of these issues. And one guy created this little picture. I just wanted to show it because it's so cute, you know, with all the challenges and the issues and the problems they had, tied it to the solutions that we then discussed on day 2. So I'll cover this in a sec. But I have practiced this with real retailers, so it should be okay. We'll find out. Wanted to explain in 20 seconds or so what GreyOrange is all about. We have a whole bunch of robotics related solutions here on the bottom. We don't manufacture any of this ourselves except one, which is that one. The goods to person solution, which is a bit like the Kiva one, which you all know, the Kiva Amazon one, everybody knows it. So we manufacture that, but for the rest it's all manufactured by other folks, mainly in China, and we resell it. If you look at this, they're a bit sorted from inbound to outbound. It's a bit tough to do, but you can get the gist of it, right? Unloading goods to person, that's inbound, storage outbound. Then there's some odd stuff here. This moves parcels, mostly post-pick, moves parcels from A to B, can sort also. This is a cobot, a little bit like our friends at your back, very comparable, I would say. These are pallet picks, case picks, item picks, a whole bunch of picking solutions. Not so easy to do in an average operation because your SKU variety tends to be large. And here in the middle is a pallet or a trolley mover. It's a bit of a separate animal, really. It moves either a pallet or a trolley, long distance particular. So that is sort of the robotic side of it. Here in the bottom are some customers. H&M is somewhere there, but as I said, they're not here with us tonight. And I guess what you see in robotics is the trend to glue more than one robotic solution together, right? If very often you reside in a GTP type solution, but then after that process is ended, you have totes or cartons in your hand, and what do you do with them? So then you start thinking about sorting them. And you can imagine that if you pick at twice the pace as your sorting capability is, then you have a problem. And normally in a manual operation, the people and the supervisor, they fix it, right? They tune it, they assign people differently. So the whole synchronization is done by humans. But if you automate everything, that's not possible. So then you need clever software to do that for you, to synchronize, to optimize that whole flow, which consists of more than one step, so that you don't get turbulence, so that you don't get issues in your warehouse. So that's a bit about us. Yeah. The software, by the way, we use a platform which you guys all use. You all use WhatsApp. Everybody on the planet uses WhatsApp. They use the same platform as the platform that we chose to synchronize our robots. So it's really built for performance. Whoops. I show you 4 slides. I'll breeze through them. There's too much detail, but you see a little bit in a more visual way what these different types of robotic solutions do. This is an omni-channel fulfillment setting. This is for e-com. These are exactly the same robots, right? They do a little bit different depending on the setting. This is for a micro fulfillment operation. Could be a large store where you see the high robots here in action. Often connected with some locker type retrieval method. And this is really a store. We have these stores live predominantly in the US, JCPenney's, customers like that have designated part of their old stores for e-com, for pickup, together with some way of retrieving, again with lockers or with some terminal type operation. Connecting all those issues to solutions, like sort of low-hanging fruit type thing. You could think of the first thing, robots as compared to a manual operation give you sort of 2.5 times the, let's say, the productivity, right? Roughly. It depends on the product and the distance and all that. There's all kinds of people, always say it depends. It does depend, but that's a reasonable statistic to use. 2.5 is okay. Sometimes it's a bit higher, sometimes it's a bit lower. Cobots is a quick win. It is very non-disruptive. If you have a warehouse management system built in 1840 on COBOL or assembler without any database, whatever it is, you could still quite easily introduce cobots to your operation. So it's easy to do for, from a process standpoint, it's easy for your IT people. It's quite, easy, non-disruptive tool, which brings a lot of quality, especially in packing. Packing is a very important process. It adds a lot of quality to your packing operation. So it's a cool thing to do. You can, I don't know, we've done some installations in a week, which is, apart from delivery times, which is really, you can't do it faster. So it's really low-hanging fruit, I think, if you want to improve. Oops. Packing itself, right? If you don't make errors in packing, you don't make a heck of a lot of errors towards your customer. If your packing is 100% perfect, and your customers are for sure happy. So there is a lot of focus also with the cobot that I just discussed on the packing quality of your operation. It is again relatively easy to do with robots, and increases your quality tremendously. Another totally different, more commercial topic is SaaS and RaaS, right? A lot of customers have issues investing up front, which is fair. You have only so much cash and you can spend it only one time. SaaS, software as a service, and RaaS, robotics as a service, allows you to spread, to sort of drop the first time investment and also the replacement investment. Robots don't last forever. Sometimes, I don't know, 7, 8 years. It's a bit unclear, really. Depends a bit on the robot also. Roughly 7, 8 years a robot lasts, then you need to replace them. With RaaS, that's part of the fee. So when the robots start getting the need for replacement, they're just automatically replaced. So it's a cool financial mechanism to spread your expenses without having peaks. Your CFO is going to like it. Especially in Europe, our warehouses are high, right? Germany, 16 meters. In Holland, where I'm from, 12, 14 meters. Let's say the space utilization challenge that we have in Europe is really well addressed with the fixed racking goods to person robot. Where is it? Is that one? It's tough to see, really. Let's say the 8.2 meters, and the next version will be 10 meters. That is really differentiating against other solutions that go up to 6 meters with shuttle-like solutions. So let's say I think the September-October version of that robot will reach 10 meters in Europe. That is really cool. You can combine it with the mobile rack solution, so you have odd product in the bottom of it, and your tote or carton-based storage on top of it. So it's really nice trend. Lots of demand. We don't manufacture that robot ourselves. It's manufactured by Hai in China, but a lot of demand for that. Oops. Yeah. The whole industry, I think, but we in particular are POC friendly. What you typically think of is very Dutch, actually. Is like, can I see this? I trust you, but you're a sales guy, blue eyes. I do not believe you really. Can you first prove to me that it works before we do the investment? That is definitely doable with a proof of concept or a trial or whatever. You know, we can organize that. So that is one measure to lower the risk. And lastly, the projects, right? This is not WMS. Cobalt projects like our friends over there. We've done them in days. We've done them in less than a week. We take sort of 3 weeks. Depends a bit on the customer setting also, but you can do this really fast, except delivery. This is the supply chain is a completely different matter. With other robot types, think about project times, 6 to 8 weeks. If you add delivery into it, you're talking half a year. 20 weeks, 24 weeks now to get a robot out of China into Western Europe. That is a bit what it is right now. Last year was a lot better. There's of course the chip situation in the world, but also the steel availability is not super. So the delivery times have gone up a little bit, but these projects themselves, piece of cake. ERP is years, and this is weeks. Warehouse management is months, I would say, half years. This piece of cake. So it's not difficult to do, and it's not scary. Okay. If you have any question, shout. What I now wanted to do is link this. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Now I need to listen, right?
Yeah, it's better if you listen.
Yeah.
If you want to answer. You don't have to answer, Jan.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So when you say that packing, it's eliminating errors, and it's how we use the packing machines as well. So if you compare this cupboard with the packing machines, how it's more efficient, like how it's reducing the errors.
Yeah, I guess I mean it a bit differently. With packing, I mean multi-SKU picking into a carton or a tote. That is where this cobalt then adds validations and checks and controls and stuff like that to. But you're right. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay. So I wanted to now connect this to H&M, what they did, what their driver was, and where they're at with this. Right. This is about H&M in the US. They are our largest customer. We started a few years ago with the GTP solution, the small one, right? The Kiva lookalike with a 2.4 meter mobile rack, which we then lift up and bring to the picker. That is the basis of the solution. I'm not going to read this all out to you. There is of course a whole bunch of challenges and value prop type stuff. The main challenge that they had is that they did not want to have stock for retail and stock for e-com separate from each other. So they wanted to have one stock position, which brings, of course, the virtue of having less stock needed. And they wanted to ship both retail for e-com from the same stock positions, same warehouse. That is, I think, the big driver, the money maker of this project is actually in reducing inventory. So that a bit on this. So we, and of course you know H&M, right? It's clothing, shoes. It's not like IKEA that the SKU variety is huge, but they do have the size color challenge, right? Typical for fashion. So there's a heck of a lot of stock positions, even if the articles are looking the same. So we implemented GTP. I read here 137 robots, which is sort of, it's not huge. I think Kiva runs warehouses with 2,000 robots in one site in the States, Amazon. But it is a reasonable number where let's say it's above 100. Most of our competitors have a hard time with more than 100 robots in one site, right? The synchronization, let's say keeping the robots running at a reasonable pace, doing a reasonable job for you, that is a problem. It gets increasingly more difficult if the number of robots goes up. So above 100, you see many robot vendors having a hard time keeping the operation flowing. So it's a reasonable number. Whoops. Yeah, it's tough to see. So it's a massive. If you see it on a video, which I don't have in this deck for you, but if you see it in a video, it's a very high building. If you're interested, let me know. It's a very high building. U.S. buildings are all very high, and not much is happening except for the first 3 meters of it. So if you see it in action, there's a zillion of these GTP mobile racks that are in that warehouse. You can't really see it well here, right? So this is what the operation is all. Again, this is no man's land, so there's really nobody walking there. It's completely covered by robots that bring mobile racks to the picker. So it's pretty. You see the measurements. It's pretty sizable, 27,000 square meters, pretty sizable operation. And this was the first site. I'll skip this. Oh yeah, here you see it's tough to see perhaps. You see, because they're all empty, you see the different activities that take place in the warehouse, for which this is the GTP operation, which are all covered by the robot. This is an automated packer that packing is hard, right? As I said before, it is hard to do, but they got it to work at H&M for their operation. Yeah, more. And this is the parcel sorter. So at the back end of the flow, when it's almost done, when you sort it to carrier lane level, you use these robots to bring it from packing to the carrier lane. This we also use quite a lot with 3PLs here in Europe. It has a really good value against the cost. It's a great solution also here locally in Europe.
Another question.
Yeah, sorry. Oh. Right.
Hello.
Yeah.
So when you say that it's a no man's land, like only the robots are operating, if there's a problem in a single robot, do you have to stop the whole operation?
No.
And how you, like if it is somewhere in between, then how it is handled?
Yeah. So when a robot gets an issue, it is programmed to move to the border of the no man's land so that it can be taken care of. Of course, there could be a situation where the robot cannot move anymore. And then you can walk into the area, but if a human starts walking inside this area, it starts disrupting the other robots that move around, and it's actually quite scary. I've done it one time myself, and it is really like you think you're going to be run over until the very last moment when the robot stops in front of you and then makes a divert. But if you walk there, the main problem with walking is that you disrupt so you eliminate the optimal flows for the robots. So that's why it's not literally no man's land, but in practice you don't want to walk there. Yeah. All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, then I'm wrapping up. So in the corner there, that was the first project we did where we had the initial slide on. These sites are, especially this site, is going to be huge. 500 for us is quite big. This one, second project, is now just live in New Jersey. And that one in the left corner is, from a number of robots perspective, the largest site we got live today. So this is sort of the max, not necessarily that we can do, but the max that we've proven at a real customer site that we can do. That those are robots in one shift, in one site, running all together. So that gives you a little bit of a feel. Some of them have, as you will see, we have increasingly added robot types. We started with just GTP with H&M, but in the third side we're going to do, I think, 50% of the robot types that we offer. So our own footprint within the site is getting larger. And that, again, that has all to do with the software. This robotics, folks, if there's one thing that you want to learn, is this, that it is about software and not about robots. Robotics is about software. That's H&M. I think this is my last benefits. It's good to see, even with all this stuff going on there, our payback remained below 3. With tangible savings for them on this journey. Yeah.
Thank you, Jan.
Oh.
Maybe you can put the headset for the question Q&A session.
Oh yeah.
Again? Yeah. Thank you.
So, like H&M is a Swedish firm.
Right.
I'm from Sweden. That's why I'm saying.
Okay.
But why they have implemented all these robotics only in America and Canada?
You could be my boss asking that question. So I guess we are working on it, but this is a US initiative. The US was particularly struggling with the inventory levels that they had, which created the rationale for the whole project. So actually, I'm not really involved with it, but I'm not really sure what the driver would be in Europe to do that. Yeah, perhaps you know more about this than I do.
But jumping on that, thank you. Yeah, I think it's a very good point. You mentioned that H&M wanted to have actually a unique stock approach rather than a multiple stock approach to fulfill online orders and shop replenishment, which is a key strategical approach. Maybe you can illustrate a bit more how, because managing the last mile delivery for that and preparing pick pack, as you said, pick pack the order, getting the orders ready for, pallets to go to the shops or single boxes to go to the end customer, how the robots, together with the technology, together with the software, is working at GreyOrange to actually support that level of operation.
Yeah, so in the analysis that they did, they have decided for a certain ratio between what they keep in larger boxes and what they store in the warehouse on a piece level. Mm-hmm. So there is that doesn't disrupt each other. So you can send 10 pieces, not packed in one box, but as 10 pieces somewhere to a store. You can do that. Of course, there is a replenishment mechanism. There's also an unpacking mechanism. If you need small pieces, it's probably replenished quickly and then picked from the robot area. So you can actually combine those two flows without adding more reserve stock, more inventory, because you have those two flows. Yeah. So they've made choices in terms of what you keep in boxes, as pieces packed together in one box, and what they really store piece per piece in the robot area.
Okay.
And need be there is a replenishment flow from the one to the other one.
Different flow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Every time I hear of fully automatically solutions, I wonder how are they designed considering peaks of sales. Yeah, I assume that fashion has their peaks, and your robots have some capacity. Yeah, they can pack some maximum number of packages per hour.
Yeah.
And how do you design it? You design for the maximum needs or some average, and you add additional ones during peaks. How do you manage the changes in sales?
Yeah. So typically we have a team in India that does simulations. So we use simulation techniques to figure out how many robots we need, for a certain volume, daily volume, even hourly volume. And we typically take less than 100% of your peak day to calculate the number of robots. Why less than 100%? Because often you can spread, even on a very peak day, you still have lighter and heavier moments, and robots do not care, right? They can work every second of the day, so you can spread that out. So typically we take sort of 90% of a peak day in terms of target volume. And then you will see, in Europe, I don't know, we have four months of peak, I think, and 8 months of non-peak. So in the 8 months of non-peak, and this is where RAS comes in. Now, I don't want to be a sales guy to you, right? But, well, perhaps I should, perhaps I would. But let's say, if you get robots for your peak period, they are standing still, or part of them are standing still in those 8 months that you don't really use them. This is what we are trying to address with RAS, but we're not completely there yet, to be honest, because everybody in the world has the same peak. So what do you do with those 8 months of robot excess, right? So we haven't really figured that out yet, but we're working on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? I've got some question for you.
Yep.
Yeah. Jumping into automation and robot, especially, could be like a big step, right? It can be scary, as you said. Or actually, you said it's not scary.
Depends on what you do.
Yeah. So how do you face, how do you answer this aspect of things? Because maybe most of the retailers would like to go into automation, because we see that potentially the KPIs such as peak rate can definitely improve and so on. So we agreed on the, let's say, benefits, but what about the implementation and the step that we have to go for?
Yeah, it does depend on the type of robotization that you choose for, that you find most applicable to your issues, right? If that is a COBOL type solution, and it could well be, then the lead times are really short, and as I said, it's very non-disruptive for your existing environment. You can keep your racking, keep your forklifts, keep your staff, keep the aisle width. There's no extra measures that you have to do, so that is really easy to do. If you replace your racking with high racks in combination with robots, it's of course really different project. So it's tough to give you one answer. It really depends a bit on what you want to achieve. Fair?
Yeah, fair enough. And then in terms of synergies or between the software, let's say, and the robots, like how flexible it can be. Most of the people here have been implementing already WMS or specific software already. Like how flexible it can be and how the two respond to each other.
Right. It's an interesting question. H&M is running on SAP WM, which is not the most flexible tool on the planet. I don't want to. SAP is fantastic, but their WM has it's an interesting tool. And what we did for H&M, we were sort of told, guys, whatever you do not touch SAP. It is a given. It's something fixed. You can't change it. Do not ask us for any change. So what we did with our software, we adapted to where SAP does things and where SAP does not do things. And so our software, you can implement put away, but you can also decide not to implement it, right? It's completely up to you. So we adapted to the possibilities of SAP. In fact, we did a heck of a lot of co-development with H&M because we added lots of functionality in our system, from inbound to storage to outbound, packing, everything. We do everything except receiving. So we built a lot of extra features for them because it was better for their SAP environment. The other thing, I mean, I'm not bashing against them, but I mean, the number of records in this kind of operation is massive. Every move, right? This is why we run with Erlang, with Ericsson. The number of records is mind-blowing. Every move of a robot is to be optimized and tracked and followed, and you don't want to get robots bumping into each other. So the sheer number of records is mind-blowing. So that is the other thing with this kind of operation. You can't expect an ERP or even a WMS to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Which leads me to another question, but maybe the audience has a question. Yeah, I'm sure we have a question here.
They want to drink.
Yeah, well, they'll have to go to the plenary session first. In terms of, I don't know if you can say something, but because it always depends on the clients and the size of infrastructure, but in terms of ROI, and it depends on the robot that you put in place, like what would be because that might be a question people ask, like, okay, what the average ROI that we can expect, from operation with you? I'm gonna leave.
Well, I think often it starts with a 2. Between 2.0 and 2.9999 years, somewhere there.
Okay.
With a cobot, I think it is lower than that. The cost is lower. Your own internal cost is also lower. A cobot is so elegant. It's, I would say, cheap. Almost. With a broader solution, you're talking 2 years.
Which is not okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
CFOs used to be okay with 3-4 years. Now it is a bit more complicated on the planet, but it's still explainable and defendable. Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of capital investment for companies, again, it's hard to generalize, but that looks like, or that might sound like, huge capital investment. We've understood that you can go the smooth way with cobot to start with, and you can actually maybe just roll out a couple of cobots rather than having a full operation. But capital investment is not.
So that is where RaaS comes in, robotics as a service, so that you then lease robots rather than that you buy them, which gives you it gives you 2 advantages. First is that your first your upfront investment at the beginning of the project, you eliminate that.
Yeah.
Instead, you pay an annual fee. But robots also retire after 7 years, 8 years, somewhere there. You need to replace them. That costs you exactly the same investment, but then with a bit of CPI on top of it, as you did in year 1. So you eliminate that also. Year 1, year 8, year 15, year 22. So but at the end, it will not matter so much financially also if you add it up, because your annual increase is going up, of course, right? Yeah. There is a fee, there's a lease fee, but you spread out the investment, so the capital it's much more predictable and much more even over the years.
Okay, and I would guess this is adaptable, to any type of business, right? Like you've got clients that are very, very various, right? Different type of businesses. Yeah. So there is no limitation here in terms of what you can do and can't do in terms.
No, I think a lot of this has to do with e-com, with parcel operations is really driven by that. But that pallet mover that you saw, I mean, you can do that regardless. I mean, you could do it in manufacturing environment for a heavy product, right? The pallet mover moves like 1,500 kilograms in one move. So some of it you can do regardless of e-com and regardless of parcel operations, but a lot of it I would say has to do with the parcelization of this whole planet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jan.
Sure.